Today on America's Court with Judge Ross.
What was your objective in paying $1 for the car to get title?
So that I could give it to him so he could be driving it.
You wanted to then circumvent the law. In my courtroom, it's about equity and fairness. You want him to pay $628.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, knock my socks off. Justice should be more than just some foreign concept. I actually want you to learn something. The law talks about something may in fact be true, but can they prove it? And that's what's tough.
Fair, firm, compassionate. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. Shawanda Arthur claims when she registered the defendant's car in her name, she became responsible for the parking tickets he received. Ms. Arthur is suing her uncle Jerome Arthur in the amount of $540. Mr. Arthur admits he did get some parking tickets, but he doesn't feel he should pay for them.
All rise. Remain standing and come to order. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Kevin Ross presiding.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated.
All parties been sworn, Your Honor.
Third, get up, Thomas. All right, Ms. Arthur, let's talk about this $540 that Mr. Arthur owes you.
Yes, Your Honor.
And this is for parking tickets, yes?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Okay. What were you saying?
Yes, Jerome is my uncle. He's kind of like a younger uncle. He's been like my big brother. He is my father's brother, and we've kind of had like a really close relationship growing up.
Yes.
Because of his age, he's the youngest of 5 siblings, and he's always been there for me no matter what. In terms of like the rough years of high school, he's always had my back, and he's always been there for me. When he was younger, he got into the wrong side of town, wrong crowd, and
You said a lot. I know that you're probably nervous, one, because being in court is a little challenging, and then you're suing a family member that you love. Mr. Arthur, she's suing you. She has this relationship with you. You have this relationship with her. This is all about parking tickets. What's going on?
Well, I've been there for her from day one. I think, first of all, I think my brother would be very disappointed in her.
Where is your brother right now?
He's passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
But
and this is your dad?
Yes.
All right.
But I think he would be very disappointed.
Your brother, you said, would be disappointed in her.
Yes.
Would he be disappointed in you in terms of some of the life decisions you've made?
Well, since I've gotten out of prison,
Why were you in prison?
Well, it really doesn't have anything to do with this case, Your Honor.
Oh, it has everything to do with this case.
Well, I got into a little trouble. I was hanging around with the wrong crowd. I was very young at the time.
That doesn't land people in prison?
Well, these guys were a little reckless, and I got caught with driving a stolen vehicle. And when they pulled me over, there was a handgun under the seat and some drugs, things like that. Mm-hmm. It wasn't mine, but I shouldn't have been driving the car in the first place. That's the bottom line, And I do accept responsibility for that.
Stop. That's why I asked you about this. Because you said it really has nothing to do with why we're here. And I said, au contraire. Mm-hmm. It has everything to do. Because this is a case about responsibility.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And when I'm looking at individuals who are suing each other over parking tickets that have kept increasing in cost, it's because someone didn't assume the responsibility to handle the ticket, which is why they went up. And now one of you is saying, well, you pay it. It's your responsibility. Is your position that these tickets are the responsibility of your niece?
Well, I feel she should take some responsibility in this for the fact that...
Okay, well, you said some, and that means the balance of that responsibility would fall on you.
Right.
You feel you bear some responsibility towards these
that
tickets.
I do.
All right.
And we
Then
have had a
Let's
conversation.
look at that. There's $540 worth of tickets. Mm-hmm. You said she bears some responsibility.
Yeah.
Give me the dollar amount that you think reflects your level of responsibility.
I would say half.
There we go. Now let's talk about your responsibility. Why was he driving your car to begin with? Because that's what this issue is about, right?
Yes. After he got out of prison, he was a little. It was hard for him to get back on his feet and pay for, get a job and such like that because of, outstanding parking tickets that he had when he came out of prison.
We're not talking about the tickets before prison. We're talking about what happened after prison.
No, those tickets that he had, before, which, hindered him from registering his car was
those
after he got out of
tickets
prison.
have nothing to do with this case. Once he got out of prison, then what happened?
He didn't have a job, and he wanted to get a job, you know, and he needed a car to get a job. So what I did was, since he couldn't register a car, I registered the car in my name. He sold me his car for $1.
Wait,
and
you registered his car
in my name.
I thought you said he couldn't get a car.
He had a car, but then he lost it because of the outstanding tickets.
All right. He would not be otherwise able to keep the car, so you took title of the car.
Yes, I did.
All right. Title then switched to your name. You paid $1.
Yes, I did.
And why did you do that? What was your objective at that point?
Well, I did want to help him out since he had been
What
there
was your
for me.
objective in paying $1 for the car to get title?
So that I could give it to him so he could be driving it to
You
work and
wanted
such.
to then circumvent the law.
Coming up on America's Court.
You have an alcohol problem.
I don't believe that I have one, but
If you have 2 alcohol-related offenses, you have an alcohol problem.
And later,
I see him flirting with other women, accepting gifts, driving their cars, just being, you know, being what he does.
closed captioning provided by. If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. America's Court is back with the case of Shawanda Arthur, who is suing her uncle Jerome Arthur for $540.
What happened to your car? Because if he's now having a car, then you don't need a car. You had your own.
yeah, I had my own car, but I did have I had a second offense with the law. The first was
All right.
reckless driving, and the second was, you know, a DUI that I wasn't so proud of. And
Okay, stop. You had a reckless driving and
Yes.
you had a DUI.
Yes, I did.
And as a result of those 2 things, it impacted your license.
Yes,
How did it impact your license?
I lost it for 1 year.
Okay, Deputy Thomas, you've arrested people for DUI, right?
Yes, sir.
Talk about what happens when you arrest someone, but ultimately they don't get charged with a DUI.
Well, basically, when you arrest them for what you believe is an impairment on a DUI, I'm arresting for the higher charge, hence DUI. However, they may not do the pre-FSTs, the field sobriety tests. They may not give blood and or breath. They may refuse all tests. So basically, all you have at that point is the officer's expertise and opinion of what they observed with the person. So the DA may say at that point, I can't go the higher charge, I'll knock it down.
Right. So what a prosecutor will do after the officer is arrested, they may say, well, I can't prove a DUI. I'll settle for a wet reckless. Is that what happened to you?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Here's why that's important. Because even though legally you have a lesser offense, what that's telling me is you have an alcohol problem.
I don't believe that I have one, but
If you have 2 alcohol-related offenses, you have an alcohol problem. Denial is not just a river in Egypt. I'm spending the time to say that because we're talking about responsibility. Is it just you? Do you have children or family or anything?
I do have a daughter. Yes, I do.
How old is your daughter?
She's 5.
Okay. Children learn not based on what you tell them, but what they see. And they're seeing, your daughter is seeing her mommy struggling with alcohol and then being irresponsible by getting in a car and potentially causing injury to yourself or other people on the road. We cannot have a conversation about responsibility and not look at what's going on here. So I've got someone that's in denial about their addiction, and I got someone who's not being responsible and blaming everybody else. Oh, I don't know, I was hanging out with the wrong people. I shouldn't have been in the car.
But
It wasn't
Your Honor, I
my-"
do take
I'm not
responsibility
asking
for that.
you a question. I'm making a statement followed by an exclamation point.
That's not actually accurate, though. I do take responsibility for it. I did serve my time. I have been rehabilitated.
Right. And then after you came out, we did this whole scam thing about switching over who gets what. Right after you got out of prison. And once again, you're saying it was her idea.
Right.
Stop blaming other people. You're a grown man. And then don't sit up here and talk about how her dad, your brother, would be disappointed at her. Let's talk about the tickets.
The first ticket that he acquired was when he was waiting to pick me up, and he parked, in this sign that said,
He's waiting to pick you up because you can't drive because you were driving while being impaired, and now you're being punished for it. Yes?
Yes, but
and then
something
he
that
gets
he
a
fully
ticket
agreed
trying
to
to
drive
get
me
you
around.
to and from and with your daughter. Okay. What's the second ticket?
So the second ticket was him picking me up from work, and
Again, because you got behind the wheel of a car, and now you're having to deal with the consequences of
which
that.
he fully agreed that he was going to drive me around.
All right. I understand that. But he got a ticket waiting for you. Why was he waiting for you to come pick you up?
From work, and he fell asleep in the car.
Because you're always late is the reason why.
And I
got
told
all
him there
of
was
those
going to be
tickets.
15 minutes and that he could park in
Constantly
designated parking spots.
Okay, so you were late. You told him, come get me at this time. He comes, falls asleep, and while you're asleep, the parking person just puts a ticket?
Yes, Your Honor, I
Okay,
was waiting.
so he's on time.
Right.
You're late, and then he gets a ticket for being on time.
Well, I told him that I was running late. I gave him ample amount of time to find a designated
And were there
parking
other
spot.
situations where you were late when he's waiting for you?
Yes, when I came back from work.
Okay,
but
so you're continuing to be irresponsible. I get it. Based on the evidence and the testimony before this court, the gavel is going to come down in favor of the plaintiff. I'm going to award you $270 because my feeling here is you shouldn't get anything because of this whole switcheroo of the license and registration and all that, because you want to pick and choose when you want to use the law. It doesn't quite work for me. In fact, the more that I think about it, the more I'm like, I don't think so. Your matter's dismissed. Case closed.
All rise.
Judge Ross has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been dismissed.
I'm happy with the judge's decision. As far as I'm concerned, families shouldn't be taking each other to court in the first place.
I can't believe I lost this case. The judge is in there talking about responsibility. What about the responsibility of my uncle?
And coming up on America's Court with Judge Ross.
I see him flirting with other women, accepting gifts, driving their cars, just being, being what he does.
Closed captioning provided by. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. Shirley Green claims she invested in the defendant's fitness app, but has yet to be repaid. Ms. Green is suing Matt Long in the amount of $5,000. Mr. Long claims Ms. Green gave him the money as a gift and says the plaintiff is just mad that he didn't want to pursue a relationship with her.
Ms. Green, what happened with you and Mr. Long here?
Your Honor, I'm here today to recover my $5,000 investment that I invested in his company.
And the $5,000 was for what exactly?
For an app for the phone. It's a gym app. And I offered it to him as a loan, and he has not paid me back.
All right, Mr. Long, that doesn't seem very complicated. What's going on, sir?
It is, because that wasn't the case. I worked at a gym because I'm passionate about fitness and wellness. Mm-hmm. And I met Miss Shirley, and I started training her.
All right.
And we trained for
That
about...
was the relationship.
That was the relationship.
And you were training her one-on-one?
Yes, it was private sessions, first at the gym and then outside of the gym.
Now, are you an independent trainer, or were you doing this under the guise of the gym itself?
I do both.
You do both?
Yes.
And you were satisfied with the results you were getting in terms of his giving you the one-on-one training?
I was. When I started the gym, I had recently lost my husband.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
I
that.
was very down, and I just wanted to feel better about myself, so I enrolled in the gym, and I booked private training sessions, and that's how I met Matt.
Okay.
And so I kept booking him because I was feeling great. I was
Okay.
getting great results.
And everything was working out. How
Yeah.
do we go from him helping you in terms of the personal training to you writing him a check for $5,000?
Well, we got to know each other. He became a good friend of mine. He, the whole time we were working out, he was flirtatious, but I just, it didn't.
I know where this is
it
getting
didn't
ready
really
to go.
Coming up on America's Court.
I see him flirting with other women, accepting gifts, driving their cars, just being, being what he does.
Closed captioning provided by. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. America's Court is back with the case of Shirley Green, who is suing Matt Long for breach of contract.
Were you having feelings for Mr. Long?
I did a little bit.
Do
I
you
didn't
feel
take
as though
it.
he was reciprocating those feelings?
I did.
What
I
led
did.
you to believe he was reciprocating those feelings?
Well, it was more his actions. I
Okay.
didn't expect a heavy commitment or anything, but
Was there any sort of
we had a lot of
intimacy
fun
between
together.
the two of you?
I'm sorry?
Was there any sort of intimacy between the two of
There
you?
was. There
Okay.
was, yes.
And was it beyond just, as they say, first base, second base? Did we go all the way around the track? Or
All the way
field?
around the track.
Oh.
You know, I had
Well, because,
fun.
and the
I
reason,
mean,
I'm not trying to be all up in your business. I'm understanding why you would feel so comfortable giving him $5,000. You felt as though you were in a relationship with someone that you are now saying, I'm going to help you out. Mm-hmm. Okay. I remember reading something about someone saying that you have a propensity towards having individuals sponsor you.
No.
Maybe that wasn't from you. Maybe that was from you.
My friend kind of warned me about him.
The friend, is this the friend
My
here?
friend Marion, yeah.
Ma'am, come on.
We work out together at the gym.
What's your last name?
Vera,
Ms. Barrett, what do you want to add here?
I see him flirting with other women, accepting gifts, driving their cars, just being, you know, being what he does. What he does.
What does he do?
What do I do?
He provides extra assistance. He accepts gifts. Just a lot of rumors going around. So I told her he was bad news. She told me about the investment, and then I got even more worried and more concerned about her not getting her money back.
Judge Ross's verdict when America's Court returns. You're watching America's Court with Judge Ross. This is America's Court with Judge Ross.
When you gave him this money, what form did the money take?
I wrote him a check. He
Okay.
asked me for a
I
loan,
didn't
for an
ask
investment.
All right.
I didn't ask
So,
her for it.
Did you get a
my
check from her?
I
understanding-
did, but I didn't ask her for it.
My
Does anyone
understanding
have a
was-
copy of the check?
I do.
Let's take a look at that.
My
I'd like to see
understanding
it.
was that he would pay it back when his business became successful.
Okay. And do you have anything with you, Mr. Long?
I do,
What
yes.
do you have, sir?
I have a check of the investment made for $26,000.
Take it off.
Yep, there it is.
All right.
That's his evidence.
All right, this is investors, 6/15, $26,000, June 15th. What is this that you,
So
this
that,
is one of your investors?
so yes, that is an investment made for the app of $26,000. I didn't need any ounce of any inkling of anything from Miss Shirley, and I didn't ask her for an investment of $5,000.
Fine, then why not just give it back to her?
I have no problem giving it back to her.
Right.
The problem is the nature of the relationship.
No,
and how
you just said you don't have any problem giving it back
I
to
don't
her.
have a problem giving it back
I am
to
so
her.
glad you said that, because based on the evidence and the testimony before this court, you will give her that money back. Judgment in
Thank
favor
you.
of Ms. Green for
Thank you.
$5,000. Case closed.
Judge Ross has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $5,000.
Matt knew I was investing in his company, and I'm just glad I'm getting my money back so I can move on with my life.
I trained Shirley all this time. She knew it was a gift. I shouldn't have to pay that money back.
Follow America's Court on Facebook and Twitter. This has been a production of Entertainment Studios.